round 2. Except round 2's already begun because it began before round 1 even ended. So this is my round 2 preview around the NHL with the slight asterisk that the Rangers and Hurricanes have already started. And when we look at those series, we're going to look at how I did in round 1, which was, mixed bag. And you know what? How about we start with the series that's already started? The New York Rangers taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, in round 1, I said that the Rangers would beat the Washington Capitals in 5 games because it's really hard to sweep in the NHL. Well, they did it. Carolina Hurricanes, different story. I said, and this was easily my worst pick, and I had some bad ones, but this was the worst one. I said that the New York Islanders would find a way to win in 7 over Carolina. From game 1 of that series, I'm like, that's a dumb pick. Dude, it wasn't good. It was a combination of 2 things. I didn't know Carolina was quite that good, but I thought the Islanders would put up a bigger fight than that. And the series was a little bit more even than the Rangers-Capitals one was. The Islanders put up a little bit more of a fight. The Hurricanes were absolutely overwhelming. Game 1 of this series, following the theme of most of the non-Colorado Avalanche and Edmonton Oilers series in these playoffs, it was locked down. The shots were only 23-25 in favor of the Rangers. Despite that, the Rangers scored 4 goals on those 23 shots against Freddie Anderson, and that's going to be a huge thing in this series. Can Freddie have a better time than that? Because since returning from his blood clot, Anderson's been really good, and the Hurricanes have been fantastic around him. But the Rangers are just getting these big performances from their big players. A goal from Trocheck in Game 1, a goal from Panarin in Game 1, and Zibanejad, who hasn't had a Zibanejad-like season up to this point, 2 goals in Game 1, which should send a shiver up every Hurricanes fan's spine. I wonder if after Game 2, let's say the Rangers go up 2-0 and it's obvious that Freddie is just getting lit up, like what would it take for the Hurricanes to turn to Kochetkov? These are 2 fantastic teams. I just feel like if you have to switch your starting goalie in this series because it's so tight, it might already be too late. I gotta be particularly gentle with Carolina Hurricanes fans because I feel bad. Like, I was disrespectful in round 1. That was a disrespectful pick. But it would be disrespectful to pick the Hurricanes over the New York Rangers, 1, because the Rangers are already up 1-0 in the series, but 2, I have the Rangers coming out of the Eastern Conference, or at very least I did before the playoffs began. Will that prediction change? Well, ask me again in a couple weeks. This series is going to be tight. It's going to be high octane. I think you're going to see big performances from big players. Ultimately, Madison Square Garden, Game 7, the Rangers win it in 7. Staying in the East, the Boston Bruins take on the Florida Panthers. Ooh, this is going to be fun. Hey, gonna let you in on a little secret. They don't like each other. To me, this series is about what you believe in. Logic or magic? Because logically, there were a few really quick series in the first round this year. Like, obviously, the Rangers dispatched the Washington Capitals. No one was surprised by that, though. Even if you had the Florida Panthers beating the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 1, I doubt it was in 5 games. The Panthers mauled the Lightning. Mauled them like no one's done to them since the Blue Jackets, weirdly enough, in 2019. Like, even last year when the Lightning lost in round 1 to the Leafs, that was a really tight series. The Panthers brutalized this team early in the series, and basically no one on the D-core was left healthy by the end of it. To the point where they're like, who can we use? I don't know, the guy with the broken leg? Which isn't totally true. It was broken. Meanwhile, you get the Boston Bruins, who have to go 7 games with the Leafs and blow a 3-1 series lead and need overtime in that 7th game. Obviously, not looking nearly as strong in their first round series as the Panthers did. But here's where the magic comes in. The Boston Bruins narrowly avoided becoming the first team to blow a 3-1 series lead in North American sports in back-to-back years. North American sports, I'm talking hockey, basketball, baseball. They would have had to wear that forever. But they don't now. They won. After a bad Game 5 and Game 6, Jim Montgomery challenges David Pastrnak. What does Pastrnak go out and do? He gets destroyed by a huge hit in the first period of Game 7, gets up off the mat, and wins the series for Boston with speed, with goal-scoring ability. Ugh. It was a nasty goal. So if you believe in the magical approach to all this, the Bruins take a lot of momentum into their series with the Panthers, and they're feeling really good about themselves. Maybe the Panthers with the long layoff, they're fat and happy going into the next round, We already know that's not going to happen because they won their second round series against Toronto last year in 5 games and then responded in the Eastern Conference Final by sweeping the Hurricanes. I think it'll be rest, not rust for the Florida Panthers. It'll be a good thing for them. All their best players are clicking. Sergei Bobrovsky stopping a lot of pucks. The Bruins really locked up the neutral zone in the front of their net in their series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I just feel like Florida's going to be able to push through all that. Oh, and they might actually get a power play goal. I wouldn't be shocked if the Florida Panthers got more power play goals in game 1 of this series than the Leafs did in 7. I'm debating between 6 or 7 games, but I'm such a believer in this Florida Panthers team. They're just so well made. I have the Panthers winning this one in, I'm still making the decision in the moment. 6. Florida Panthers in 6. Let's go to the West. Ooh, what do we do first? Nah, I'm going to make you wait on the All-Canadian one. Let's do the Dallas Stars taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Ooh, this is juicy. A rematch of their really underrated, super magical 2020 series from the bubble. That was unreal. Stars rookie Joel Kiviranta finishing off the Avalanche, and Michael Hutchinson, who was in net for the Avalanche for some reason, finishing them off with a hat trick. These are 2 teams that had the opposite first round that a lot of people thought they should have. I was wrong about the Avalanche in round 1. I thought they would go down to the Winnipeg Jets in 6. Now that is largely not because I didn't believe in the Avs. They're a great team. I thought the Jets were going to be better than that. Their defense, their goaltending, and then hearing Connor Hellebuck after that series talking about how good he felt, how confident he felt, how he was able to just play without thinking about it. And all the pucks were getting past him without him even seeing it. How isn't that terrifying for anyone who has to take on the Avalanche next? Well, if you're the Dallas Stars, the reason you're not terrified of that is because you just had to play a loaded up Vegas Golden Knights team in the first round, even though you were 1 point off from winning the President's Trophy. That's not fair. The Stars fell down 2-0 in that series, won 3 straight, lost game 6, and they win a tight game 7 against Vegas. But if you watch that game 7, Stars were pretty much the better team from the jump. With most teams, you can kind of look and be like, this might be their Achilles heel or that or that. The Dallas Stars don't really have weaknesses. Their defense is a combination of mobile and physical, and they're all huge. Oh, and they just survived a series against the Vegas Golden Knights, who are bigger than anyone else. They have probably the craziest scoring depth in the National Hockey League, and Jake Ottinger is dialed. The Colorado Avalanche overwhelmed the Winnipeg Jets with top-end talent. Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon, they just didn't have an answer for these guys. They didn't have the personnel on the back end, which sounds weird to say because the Jets were so good defensively all year, but like, who are you matching against Nathan MacKinnon? Right? Who are you going to shut Nathan MacKinnon down with? Not to mention, defense is a team construct. It's not just about throwing one defender on them and velcroing them. Nathan MacKinnon, you can't. But the thing is, if anyone can, it's the Dallas Stars. Is Miro Heiskanen and Cale Makar? No, but he's probably one of the most underrated players in the NHL, and he's going to be a huge factor for the Stars. What's going to be a huge factor for this series, I think, is fatigue. Like, that series with the Stars and the Golden Knights was not an easy one at all. Colorado Avalanche, shockingly, just dismissed the Winnipeg Jets in 5, and they have all this time to just chill, lick their wounds. Maybe the biggest question mark in the series is Alexander Georgiev, who was terrible in the first game of the Jets series, but then really locked it down, and the team locked it down around him. That, and they scored 5 or more goals in 5 straight games. If it comes down to goaltending, Jake Ottinger advantage. Man, I was gonna say Dallas Stars in 6, but I'm manifesting a 7-game series here. We deserve a 7-game series between these two incredible teams. If it does go 7, that's going to be difficult for the legs of the Dallas Stars. Difficult. I still have them winning this one, though. They're just so deep and so good. Most underrated team in the league. Which leaves us with an all-Canadian series, guaranteeing a Canadian team will be in the Western Conference Final, guaranteeing there will be a Canadian team in the Final 4 of the 2024 Stanley Cup Playoffs, the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Boy, you talk about a stylistic switch up for the Vancouver Canucks. There were the Nashville Predators who would not let them breathe at all for any moment. Wouldn't let them get a shot through, wouldn't let them get a shot on goal. The Canucks basically Brock Bessered their way through that series. The Canucks needed 3 goalies, Thatcher Demko, hurt, Casey DeSmith, hurt. They go to Artur Silovs, and the dude gets a shutout in the elimination game. Are you kidding? Gritty series win, great series win, but now they take on the Edmonton Oilers. There's another team who pulled off an unlikely defensive and goaltending performance, not with a third stringer, certainly, but taking on the LA Kings. If I were to tell you one team was going to win a game 1-0 in this series, who do you think it was going to be? The Kings, because that's how they have to win against the Edmonton Oilers. Well, they didn't. I don't know if you've seen any of the mic'd up stuff from that series. Zach Hyman just talking to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Hey, do this. And then he scores 2 goals and says they can't defend that. This is a team that basically exclusively played the trap. It was a brutally physical series, and the Oilers were the more physical team. They mauled these guys. Listen, Canucks Preds was really tight, and the Preds dictated a lot of that series, even though the Canucks were ultimately victorious. The Oilers punched through the rock wall of the LA Kings like they were made of construction paper. The Preds have some good weapons. Philip Forsberg's super underrated, but McDavid and Hyman and Draisaitl, and it looked like Evander Kane turned it on and had another notch, and Nugent-Hopkins and Evan Bouchard with the Bouch bomb. That is going to be so hard to contend with, especially with Quinn Hughes. Even though he had 5 points in 6 games, obviously skating around like he's not quite at 100%. I thought about saying 5. I'm still thinking about saying 5. I'll give the Canucks some credit. I'll give them a win just because of Michael Bublé. Oilers in 6. Don't look at me like that. Producer Drew said 4. So, those are my round 2 picks. What do you think? Leave your picks in the comment box down below. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe to SDPN if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Enjoy the second round. You have no option. It's already begun.